Take it away, man.
All right, so I'm Drew, and I'm going to show you a quick video from my YouTube channel about me and surfing, just so you can get a little background, because I'm doing my presentation on surfing in the Olympics. So here's just a quick video.
Ever since I was a little boy, I admired the ocean. Playing around the ocean and being in the ocean. I grew up with 2 older brothers and a cute little sister. We aren't a perfect family, but they are perfect for me. My name Drewby comes from when I was a little kid, because I had so much excitement all the time, especially around the ocean. I invite you to join me on this journey of excitement of surfing, and bodyboarding, and 360s, and drones, and GoPros, and all this cool technology we have to film ourselves with. So I invite you to subscribe and join me in my journey, one wave, one place, and one smile at a time.
So I showed that video because we wanted to watch a TED Talk. That's why. So I showed that video because it showed about my passion for the ocean, as well as some of the places I've gone. So I've seen how surfing is around the world, from Nicaragua to New Zealand to China to Mexico to Hawaii to the East Coast. I've been to all of those places surfing, and it's been the same stoke and the same culture around. So it's not just a sport, it's a lifestyle. So I want to start with that. So some of what I'm doing is just kind of telling you about surfing in the Olympics in 2020. So here's my outline, and here's the logo that I'm not rebranding, just simply their logo for the 2020 Olympics. And so my strategy is, here's my statement: for the spirited millennial who wants to engage with life head on, Olympic surfing will provide them the inspiration and vigor they need to shred their waves of life. And just to give you an example of one wave of life, I just want everyone in the audience to do a wave for me, starting from over here. So, look at that. There's one wave of life. That's a positive one I'm hoping for, but there's some ones that are negative. In some of the countries I've seen that surfing is a way to pick them up out of the slums. There's so many people in third world countries who use cardboard boxes to go out and surf, like literally cardboard, and they just use tape to make sure they float out in the water. So it's been a way for them to get outside of themselves. And so the reason the surfing is the reason the Olympics is so great is that it provides an opportunity for those who don't necessarily have the means to be successful. It's an avenue for them. So there's a huge opportunity for surfing here in the coming future, because I don't know if you've heard, but in the news there's actual wave pools that are being built. In Texas, this is a surfing area just for surfing. So it's going to be available worldwide. Pretty soon, the next 10 years, it's going to be really huge. So here's another picture. This is in California, out in the middle of the desert. They have some guy surfing, and that's what the facility looks like. And then it's also another huge opportunity, because I know that surfing is just generally a positive experience, and surfing brands are really good at marketing, and generally the culture is nice. I noticed that there's 2 people in here wearing surfing clothing, one of RVCA, and you had a jacket on that was Billabong. So just here in this room, there are a couple surf brands. And so here's some of surf culture things that are for people who don't necessarily surf, but they love the environment. So I created a couple logos just to fancy myself. I created one here where there's a guy surfing his wave of life. It's the Olympics, and he's giving it his best shot. And here's another one grabbing hold of the Shaka, and there's just a basic logo. And then a couple more where this is the Japanese flag, since the Olympics is going to be in Japan in 2020. You made the little circle. It's actually a rising sun, if you know about the flag and the history, but now it's a wave for this campaign. So some execution, here's the research behind it. Television viewership is going to be only rising until 2020, and then marketers are predicting that live TV like NBC or something like that will be diving down in their revenue, because there's so many different platforms in which people can get their media and highlights from. Another one is that it was mentioned in Monster, but esports is becoming huge, and so I'm going to talk about a little bit that video games might even be in the Olympics, and it's already been close to, because in 2018, 2 days before the Pyeongchang Olympics, they streamed StarCraft, or a video game competition on their channel. And another statistic is the daily viewership of Twitch, which is a video game platform to advertise and share their sport. It had more viewers than MSNBC, which is the classic Olympic provider, and CNN. So video games are getting a bigger viewership than just classic news stations. And then another one going on, that live viewing is definitely dropping, and so this will get into things that we're going to change. Is that their website presence is really bad when it comes to surfing in the Olympics, because they don't. Here's 3 problems that I've noticed. Is that there's no option for surfing as an Olympic sport under their sports tab. Who would have thought, because it's going to be in 2020, that they haven't updated the website. So there's no schedule for when surfing will take place, and there's 0 posts on their Instagram in 2018 that surfing is going to be in the Olympics, and only 1 video is on their YouTube, and it was posted in April, and this is December. And the Olympics is in about a year. So I think they're going to start doing that in the next year, but that's why I wanted to cover this, because there's problems. They haven't posted anything about it. And I recommend that they hire out for surfing coverage. Since it's a new sport, they want to go with someone who's already been broadcasting surfing. So they should hire out and not just try to build up from the ground up. And lastly, it's just the media outline basics to catch the millennial generation, because they're not watching 6 p.m. news. They're on their phones like 12 o'clock at night just scrolling through Instagram. They'll see one small ad and that may catch their attention. And so these are some of the classics. And in terms of advertising outlines, they just want to do real stories. You want to show the Slumdog Millionaire, that person who was in Nicaragua and used a cardboard box to surf, and now they're in the Olympics. So tell those stories. And lastly, here's just some brands that are already supporting surfing, but I know that they'll support surfing in the future. So maybe to work with that. And lastly, I'm going to finish with a quote by the president of surfing. He's the guy who got surfing in the Olympics. And he says, "As one man, I am nothing, but with the great work of friends and supporters from around the world, we have been able to grow and develop surfing as a true force for a better world. I am excited to see where we can take the sport together and all the way to Tokyo 2020 and well beyond." And that's all. Thank you.